Welcome CSC103. I'm going to take you through this little overview of gaming PowerPoint for a little bit and just review some of your assignments for this unit, which is actually just a part of our Unit 8, part of its computer careers. This part is just gaming, and this was introduced by some students a couple years ago who thought we should talk about gaming. Now, I'm not really a gamer, so why would I talk about gaming? We're going to talk about consoles, terms, history, and again, why would I talk about gaming if I'm not a gamer? Well, I have kids who play games. I have students who are into gaming. I teach in areas where people may be going into game development and things like that. I teach in computer science classes. I teach design. I teach 3D sometimes. So all this stuff kind of overlaps with gaming, even if I don't sit around playing games. I mean, I played games when I was little, but not the kind of games that people play now. So there's a lot of aspects that I should be familiar with. So in addition to familiarizing you, I'm going to familiarize myself with some of this, and that's why I like to do this short little unit. And a couple things I'll mention here. My gaming history, this is the kind of things I played when I was little. Handheld football, I used to spend hours and hours playing with these little red blips, LED screens, before there was Madden and things like that. We had very primitive looking 8-bit color graphics and stuff like that we used to use. We had Pong, where you plugged into a black and white TV and just played with black and white pixels where you just hit a ball back and forth. And sometimes you played hockey because there were two things to do it. So if you ever checked out Pong and stuff like that, I played that when I was little. Some of this other stuff, the baseball and football game in the background, that's actually more complex. Now, here's a little overview of some different consoles, everything from multimedia to handheld devices we have in here and different histories of it. Some of them work together. Some of them have games which only work on those specific consoles. Some basic terms, exclusive games, which means they're only on that console. Cross-platform, which they could be on both consoles. The graphics, the processors, that's talking about the speed, not just the colors in terms of video processing. There's also color processing. When we talk about 8-bit color, there was a limited amount of colors. Now everything's very full color. And again, remember, computer screens use 24-bit color. So when we see 8-bit color, that's a lot less colors than we normally see. That's why those older games look the way they did. All right, game playing terms. And again, I am not the expert on this. I'm just listing them in bullet list here. Online multiplayer, local multiplayer, FPS, first-person shooter. I'm just sharing what they mean. I don't play these games, so if you ever hear these abbreviations, here they are. And game development, I'm a little more familiar with this in terms of programming languages. There's C++, C, C#, Java, Python. All of these play a part in game development at some point. 3D modeling, animation, creating the backgrounds, creating characters, things like that. You'll see some of this software involved. Even Blender, which is free software that you could download and use, is involved. You might have heard of the Unity game engine. All this is involved in 3D modeling animation, which is also part of game development. Gaming history, now there's a whole video that you're going to watch on this, so I don't really have to go over much other than I'm just kind of breaking it down. And again, I'm more from the top end of this. That's when I played games in 80s and 70s when I was a kid. I didn't play too much in the 90s, maybe a little Mario Brothers and stuff like that. And whatever games I played with my kids after that, Madden, football, and things like that. But I haven't played a lot of modern games other than when I got involved with my kids playing their games. But when I was a kid, I played the handheld games, the football games, and some of the sports games that you could plug into a TV on a system. And that's it. So let me just go over the assignments as far as this section of the unit. This is handouts and documents and resources. If you go to bookmarks and go down to Unit 8, because that's what we're talking about. So I'll scroll down to Unit 8. 2 blocks here on computer-related careers, which I already talked about. There's 3 here on games. There's the gaming overview for everyone online PowerPoint. It's just the online PowerPoint of what I just showed you. So if you want to go look at that, look at it again, maybe it'll be better than me talking over it if you go look at that. So that's just the online version of what I just showed you, pretty much the same thing. So I'll close that out. There's also a brief history of video games. Now, this is going to probably start playing, so I'm going to pause it for a second here. This is actually a very cool video. It's about 20 minutes long, and if you want to speed it up, you could go to settings here and increase the playback speed if you want to run it faster than 20 minutes. The guy has a cool kind of British accent here, and it's a good history of games. It's a very fast-moving video, and I like it. And it goes through everything from the beginning of video games up to the 2000s. It's not really modern. This came out in 2013, and it kind of hits some of the things I'm familiar with, but I know a lot of the early games and stuff like that. So it's a good video to watch, and there'll be a quiz on that too. So, and it should be an easy quiz. I've had people pass the quiz without even watching the video, but I would watch the video and take the quiz, or take the quiz while you're watching this video. So here it says, you will take the quiz posted based on this video. Take it when you watch the video. And also there's this 8-bit video games play. I just want to point this out. This is another part of your assignment. You're going to have 2 discussions. It's actually 1 discussion question, but you're going to put 2 topics in there. One of them is going to be going to this 8-bit video games. And I just want to point this out on here, that if you have an issue that you can't play Flash, if you go down here and say, well, I want to play Frogger or something. Here's Frogger down here. And you get a message about, this might not come up, and it may say that you need the Flash plugin. You may have to go over here. Now, I already did it. That's why it's not coming up. And it's saying allow. But you may get something like this. I'll just show you what you may see. I'll just close this and refresh it. You may see something like this. So if you see this, you could either go up here or go over here where it says not secure and go down here. And you may have a drop down where you could just say allow and just say allow. If you don't have that, you might have to go to site settings. Now, I'm in Chrome, but if you go to site settings, just look for the place that says Flash and then just say allow, and that'll allow for that site. And then when you close this up and you refresh it, here you might have to refresh or reload. It says reload here. But then you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to play the game. So then if you want to play Frogger, what I'd like you to do, let's see how I do here real quick. I'll go across. I get very stressed out when I do this. Oh no. Oh. I think it... Oh, I made it. I didn't even think I made it. Anyway, that's Frogger. What I'd like you to do is just play a couple of these games here and then share your experience in the discussion forum. And in addition to that, I'd also like you to do this. If you go here and then go to the discussion forum for Unit 8, there's 2 parts here. And if you go in here, you'll see a description. Here's part 1. And the first part, which I didn't mention yet, is basically after watching the video, a brief history, just share kind of like some memories about playing video games when you were young. I'm sure all of you probably played video games. Maybe you didn't, but maybe there's something that kind of connects to your youth or anything from doing that. I found in the past that when people write about this, and they always talk about things when they're little, they weren't even the greatest games. They might have been things that were real easy or not even very high tech or anything, but they just remember having fun with them. Just like I remember my little handheld football game that I played hours with that thing with little red blips. Compared to now where you could see real players high-fiving each other. Basically then I just had little red blips and I had a ball doing that. I enjoyed that when I was a teenager and younger doing that. And part 2, it says go to 8bit.com, that's where I just was, and play some Space Invaders, Asteroids, or some games that you want to try out and just kind of share your experience. My experience is I get stressed out doing it. I feel more relaxed once I close up the window and I'm out of there. I don't find it relaxing playing those games at all. So that's all you're going to do for the discussion post is 2 parts. One about kind of your experience with gaming. Maybe you started playing games when you're a little kid, maybe when you're a teenager, maybe you got together with friends or family and played different games, playing Wii and stuff like that. Whatever you want to share there, whatever you have, whatever you don't have. Maybe you didn't play games. Maybe you did other stuff that was kind of like games. Maybe you went outside and played real stuff. That's okay. And then also try this stuff out and just share your experience with that. So hopefully you get Flash working. You can try that out. I put a little screenshot of that. And that's all you have to do for this half of the assignment involving gaming. Again, it's just to give us a little bit of exposure. I'm not a game expert, so I'm not going to teach gaming or try to go over too much about it. That's kind of your thing, but I like to just touch on it since a lot of people are into it.